Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another Closer Walk with Toe. Today we're on the Trans-Canada Trail. We're going to see what we've got out here. I mean, there's absolutely beautiful, beautiful scenery out here. There's great trees and flora and fauna and everything. And we also have lakes. Look at that. This is McKay Lake. There's a chain of lakes along here, and they all kind of feed into each other. And there's McKay Lake, next one is Crystal, and then further down is Timberland. Yeah. I apologize for the stability. I'm actually using my tripod with my camera as a selfie stick, so doing what we can to make it work. Alright, well, we're going to carry on down the trail, and we're going to see what we can see. Wow, well, we've got something just popping out of the dirt there. It's a good sized mushroom. I'm thinking it's an Ammonita of some type. Well, look at that. I believe this is the Ammonita apraa, which is great because actually this is virgin territory for me. I've never ever found one of these. I found the Muscaria, I found the Pantherina, but not these. Now, one thing with the Muscaria is the little scabers on the top, they can come off quite easily. Same with the Pantherina, they come off. These on the apraa kind of get fused. And this material up here is from the vulva down at the base. I don't want to disturb it too much, but there's an egg sac down here. You can see the top of the lip of it there. And yes, this one is toxic, being one of the Ammonitas. But nonetheless, this is awesome. I have never found one of these. Very cool. Look at the size of it too. Just a monster. Neat. Alright, let's see what else we can find out here. And coming along, I almost stepped on this guy because it was underneath the sword fern here. I believe this is Cereoporus leptocephalus, the black-foot polypore, as opposed to what we showed the other day, the black-footed polypore, which is Bpis Badas. But yeah, very cool. I was not expecting to see this today, growing here on an alder stick. You know, about 70, 80 years ago they logged all this area. This is all second growth now. And you can actually still see some of the pilings from their docks on the other side of the lake there. I don't know if you can make that out. Man, look at all these wild strawberries. The wild flowers, anyways. They will hopefully eventually have a beautiful flush of berries. Very common on the trail sides. Yeah, they're all through here. And they should be out in around June, the berries. So we'll be checking this out for sure. And I was talking about the pilings. I'm just going to get you down to the lake here. My zoom is messed up on my camera. I got to get a new one. But those are the pilings right over there. And you can see the logging road that went off up into the hillside. But yeah, beautiful lake. Probably about 3 times the size of the one on my property. And then it's connected up through here. There's a marsh that goes through and a little creek that runs through to Crystal Lake. And then beyond that is Timberland Lake. Just a sweetie little spot. That's another thing I love about nature, is the sound. Love them froggies. Right here we have a whole swack of the threes, the tries. We have the vanilla leaf, which is right here. This is Achilles triphylla, and it's not edible, but you can take the leaves home, dry them out, and use them as a potpourri, and they have that vanilla scent. It will have one stem coming up through the center with its flower, a little kind of a poof on the end of it. And then right behind it all, we have the Trillium. Trillium ovatum. And this one is means tri-lily. It has 3 petals, it has 3 sepals, and it has 3 leaves. But this is a nice little bush of them. They'll all have single stems going down, but they're just bunched together is all. Absolute beauties. In some provinces it's actually illegal to pick them, which, you know, they're out in the wild. I like to leave the wild flowers where they are. Oh, and right beside us we have Rubis spectabilis. This will turn out to be an orange to red mottled berry. Very delicious, the salmon berry, and this one might only have a couple because it's only got a few blooms on it, but there are a lot bigger bushes around. Alright, on we go. And speaking of the trilliums that darken up their color, this beauty. It's kind of, ooh, look at you coming out of there. Well, me oh my, you thought I was a fly. Said my, like the spider to the fly. Jumped right ahead in my web. Yeah, wow, he could have bit me. I don't know if those guys bite, but they sure don't look very happy. I'll tell you that much. Alright, let's move on away from this little fella. I just happened to be snooping around under this one tree, and I saw these little guys. These are Laria lotta, and here, we'll just get you a little, oops, where did you go? There you are. So here we have Laria lotta. You can see the gills there, they're kind of pinkish. These guys have a white spore print. They are edible, but most mushroomers actually call these, you know, the weeds of the mushrooms, the mushroom weeds, because they grow in such abundance. They're also known as the deceiver. So these little guys, and their gills get quite spaced out as they get older. And I have an example of an older one here, if I can get it out of the grass. Here we go. So yeah, so he's kind of shriveled up, but you can see the gills are quite spaced out. And the reason why they call them the deceiver is they can change their color. So they can start out really young and they're quite reddish brown, and then they'll, you know, start to fade. But yeah, they're edible. They're not very big. So, but I am the eater of the weeds, so there is a possibility I might actually at one point harvest some if there were more of them. And you can also see too that how much their caps flare out. So it's, if I can just get it to focus, there we go. So it flares right up. Neat little find, although tiny. And look at this beautiful flush of turkey tail, Bpis versicolor. I thought it was the hirsutum, the false turkey tail, but from a distance, because of the browns. But they can have different colored concentric rings. Sometimes they're gray, sometimes they're brown, sometimes they're darker, like almost black. Beautiful. But they do have their spore surface there, and these are very young because they're quite soft and fleshy. Beautiful. Some sweetie little grove in here. Oh, something made the frog stop. It's probably my mouth yapping. So this is a really cool find. This is an old growth cedar that they logged probably over 100 years ago. And the reason why I say that is because they haven't rotted away, and these notches were axed out by the loggers, and then they would put a plank in here. So they go all the way around so they can get all the way around the tree. And then they would stand on the plank that's hanging out of here because it's got support. So then they'd have two guys usually on a big old Swede saw on either side, cutting this baby down. And I can almost guarantee that all the cedars that are in here are probably babies of this stump. Well, what was a tree, now a stump. Little history for you. And on this big old Acer macrophyllum, the big leaf maple, are all these conchs growing. Beautiful. These are the artist conchs, Ganoderma applanatum. And look at, a lot of people do some amazing artwork with these. So you can actually scratch their spore surface when they're young, like that. And some people do, like I say, amazing things with these. But I am not an artist. I can barely draw a stick person, so I'll stick with foraging. Yeah, in this mixed forest here, we got the alders, we got the firs, and there's cedars and maples right here. But right here, growing out of this old dug fir stump, is the red huckleberry, Vaccinium parvifolium. And these will get really sweety little flowers, and then they'll get the little orange berries, and they're just delicious. But yeah, long way to go. These are everywhere in the Pacific Northwest, or at least on Vancouver Island, I should say, in the very least. Like there's one there, there's another one right over here. And I know that there's a bunch up here. But one thing they do like to do is grow out of old stumps. There's, I guess, so many nutrients still left in them that I guess the mushrooms haven't gotten to yet, or the moss and whatnot. But yeah, can't wait for those berries to come out, because there's so many you can literally get. I mean, they're tiny, but you can really get a big bowl of them, and it's just awesome. Well, I can definitely say that you can smell it before you can see it. Look at all the skunk cabbage. Crazy town. This is toxic to people, but you can use the leaves to wrap, say, a fish and steam it on the fire. You can be used for roofing your bushcraft shelter. And bears eat the core of the flower to aid their digestion. So if you see a bunch of half-eaten skunk cabbage cores on the trail or whatever, there's a bear around. And somebody's got an upset tummy. So keep chugling. Oh, I think this is going to suck. I'm going to try crossing this bugger. Alright, down this is a big slope. Holy snap and horse teeth. Yeah, you're a short-eared mountain goat, baby girl. I am an old fat man. Ooh. Hey, I made it. Alright, well, I used to build log homes, so I should be able to navigate this no problem. As long as the board holds. Oh, it's quite skook. Oh, right on. No soakers. Nice. Let's see where this trail goes. This is the first time I've been over here. Carries on up into the bush. Looks like an alder, and mostly alder, but some maples. Wow, it goes quite a ways up here. This is awesome. If I come across anything really spectacular, I will turn the camera back on. Well, apparently we're on course, because this is apparently called the Goat Trail. Great. Here's me going to be a short-eared mountain goat. Alley-oop. Oh. That was definitely a goat trail. And it looks like we've got a little bit smoother sailing along here, which is great. I gotta catch my breath. Holy by gum. Due to the graphic content of the next clip, viewer discretion is advised. Well, I'm thinking something got eaten out here. So we got a little pile of guts. And around it, we have all this hair, and no pun intended, but it is very much looks like rabbit hair. and then trying to determine what actually ate it, well, still not for certain. However, this is an owl leaf. Oh my goodness. This is an owl feather, which looks like a leaf, and they are some major predators out here. Quite often they normally eat little mice and voles and moles and whatnot. But you know, the great horned owl actually can be like 1.5 feet tall, and they could quite easily take down a rabbit. And so what he probably did was gut him here and took it off up into a tree to finish it off, would be my assumption. There are animals out here trying to eat other animals, and we are animals as well. And there are cougars and bears out here, and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So just when you're out on the trail, be very, very aware of your surroundings. Well, just right on the edge of the trail, and I'm not sure, these look like a Hypholoma, and I'm not sure if it's Hypholoma Facular, the sulfur tuft, or if it is the conifer tuft, Hypholoma capnoides. You can tell by the gills, and if you can see how yellow that is underneath, this is Hypholoma Facular. It is toxic, and even if you just do the taste test on the side of the trail, it leaves kind of like an acidy, like a battery acidy kind of really corrosive kind of flavor on your tongue. But yeah, so these guys were growing out of a little piece of wood underneath this moss, and the caps look very much like the smoky gill, conifer tuft. But you can, like I said, you can go by the gills. So these have in the fluorescent yellow right in there, and I'm not sure if you can see it with the sun, but these are the bad ones. You don't want to eat these. But it's a good sign that the Hypholomas are coming out soon. We just need some rain. Drier than a popcorn fart April has been. Well, that's something that's a little bit unnerving. Looks like a bear has been using this for a scratching post. That, or maybe a cougar, I don't know. Nonetheless, always have to keep your eyes open and your ears. It's just, the Trans-Canada is so awesome because there's so many little side trails that you can take when you're just wanting to just be chill. Like, we just did the goat trail. This one is the Shadow. The Shadow. Used to listen to that radio program back in the day. It's awesome. Alright, sweetheart, let's go through here, see what we can see. Even though we're on the east coast of the island, this reminds me of the West Coast Trail. That was quite the endeavor. Done it a couple of times with my buddies and whatnot. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was in 2007 when I was actually in somewhat decent shape. Not really. Somewhat, I say. Oh, to be young again like Little Dog. I'm ready to give it up, and she just wants to keep going. Alright, well, that's good. It pushes me forward, and I need the exercise anyways. Good on you, baby girl. Holy snap, and the mosquitoes are bad out here right now. It's funny, I didn't see this guy on the way in, but I saw him on the way out. This is Bpis Badas. And I showed you earlier on another trail today, on the Trans-Canada Trail, but on another section, I showed you the Cereopterus leptocephalus. And you can see that they have similar pore surface. They have the dark foot at the bottom. However, the Bpis Badas is quite a bit darker brown, and the Cereopterus is kind of buff, like a light tan. And this guy will get more ruffled and darker with age too. So awesome. There are mushrooms out here, even though it's so dry, but you really got to keep your eyes open. Just put you back. Now I know these guys get shown a lot, and I apologize for the repetition, but this is the Ammonita Pantherina, Pantherinoides, and we have, they're just everywhere right now, so that's why I'm putting them in the vids. This will be the perfect example of the young Pantherina at the egg sac. Absolutely perfect. The veil hasn't completely broken away and left the ring. And we can see that these scabers just come right off. Barely have to rub your finger on them. If you're making this out, I'm doing this one-handed, so my apologies. Yeah. Beautiful. And quite often, the Pantherina will grow in groups, and very often it'll grow in a fairy ring. This is not quite a fairy ring, but they're all over the place. Look at this. Wow. There's some old ones besides some newer ones, and even newer ones. There's more, some trying to break out of the grass. Another one right there. Wow. Not quite a fairy ring, more of a fairy line, as it were. Here's another one of our pretty little bush flowers. These are the bleeding hearts. They're all in through here, through all of this vanilla leaf. Spring just brings out the most beautiful colors. Look at the size of this old finished off brain mushroom. This was at one time upright, but you can see that he's now laying down. Look at this. Just amazing. Look at the structure inside. Very cool. Little tunnels and all that kind of thing. Oh, and look at this little sweetie. This is the yellow wood violet, Viola glabella. Glabella means smooth in Latin, which is referring to the leaves. And they grow in, really mossy areas and on the sides of trails and in grasses and whatnot. But yeah, you don't see the purple very often, that is for darn sure. But the yellows are just as beautiful. As I was walking along, I came across this one and another one over here. And these appear to me to be the Loradiomyces percivalii. They're very similar to the Stropharia ambigua. However, they don't have all the litter all over them. And mind you, it's been raining and it washes a lot of it off. And they have a brown spore print. The reason why I call this one the Loradiomyces is they come out in the springtime and late winter, and the Stropharia ambigua seem to come out in the fall for the most part, and they're usually quite a lot larger, is what I have found anyways. So don't quote me on this one, but I sure think that that's what I have here. There's no vulva, it's obviously not an Ammonita, and there's no ring. I wonder what it smells like. Just kind of smells like just a regular mushroom. But this one's a little beaten and aged. But yeah, the Stropharia normally has a lot of material hanging down off of the margin of the cap. And usually the stipe is littered with a lot of white, fluffy material, kind of. It's they're very, very neat looking. And I believe the edibility is unknown. So yeah, I guess nobody's tried them yet. Or maybe they're scared to. I don't know. Again, not a guinea pig. You know, I love the Trans-Canada Trail, but I really hate what people do to it. They don't care. They throw their garbage around. And I've already been picking up garbage, as you can see here. And grab this too. Alright everybody, we have done about 6 or 7 kilometers. I'm almost out of memory on my card. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe.